The Madhya Pradesh government has refused to relent. It's launched a crackdown on protesters who've been on Jal satyagraha in Harda in Madhya Pradesh, many of them being forcibly evicted from water where they've been protesting for the last over 14 days.
In fact, the police are now using force as well to drag the protesters out of the river where they have been protesting for the past 15 days. In fact, the situation there is tense and the DIG and the collector are there at the spot as well. The villagers have intensified their stir after the state government gave in to demands of villagers in Khardana displaced by the waters of Khardana Dam. And joining us with the latest from Ground Zero is our correspondent Manish Awasthi. Manish, we hear that the police are forcibly evicting protesters out of the water. Is that still happening? What is happening at Ground Zero right now?
See, though agitation is on the same line as it was there in Omkareshwar, but the government has a double-speak face and a split face this time with the protesters and the people displaced from the villages due to Indira Sagar Dam. And the latest is the police is using full power to evacuate the villagers who have been protesting, and today is the 15th day. Alok Agrawal, who happens to be leading the agitation, says that police is now using force, and 15 people have been arrested, and not only using force, they are even going to the extent of going physical assault also on the agitating farmers and the villagers. So this is very clear this time. Shivraj government will not going to buckle down to the pressure as they did in Omkareshwar House Tree project. So this is very clear and evident. This time government is acting tough, as Kailash Vijayvargiya yesterday has said, who happens to be the minister who meddled between Omkareshwar House Trees and government, who came as a representative of Shivraj Singh and took the demands, and later Shivraj, buckling to the pressure, has announced and almost met the key demands of Omkareshwar House Trees. But this time Indira Sagar Dam House Trees doesn't seem to get the same treatment as the House Trees of Omkareshwar Dam got.
Right, Manish, why this crackdown right away? Were there no negotiations that were being held between these protesting villagers and the government? We've seen how several members of the government and also the Central Committee too were meeting the protesters who were earlier agitating in Khandwa. Were there no negotiations on at all?
In fact, government says that there are two different issues. Indira Sagar Dam is altogether a different issue and Omkareshwar was a different issue. And this time government is acting tough, and it will not bow down to the pressure of villagers and mainly the NBA activists. The NBA is leading this agitation, and NBA cannot pressure them wherein they can buckle down to their pressure is very clear, made by Kailash Vijayvargiya. And not only Headlines Today was talking to Anand Kumar, who happens to be the General Secretary in charge of BJP of Madhya Pradesh, who was in Khandwa yesterday, has said that the only alternative that villagers and the people of Madhya Pradesh is that they should get Narmada closer to them. So this is very clear. It has been decided in the state executive also that government will not going to buckle to the pressure that is being built up by NB activists at Indira Sagar Dam project in Harda.
Well, Manish, now that they have been forcibly evicted, what is the next course of action?
Now that police force have been deployed, and a number of police force, including the state reserve police, is also being asked and summoned, with 15 people having been arrested, and this is the 15th day of the agitation. And let me tell you one thing, the agitation is same on the lines of that people will submerge themselves in the water on the lines of Omkareshwar Gogalgaon village agitation. So the NBA activists thought that it will follow the same path as Shivraj government has set an example by meeting the demands, the key demands of Omkareshwar House Trees. So it doesn't work. It doesn't work for NBA activists that Shivraj will going to follow the same Xerox copy of what he announced for Omkareshwar House Trees. So pressure is building up. Situation is tense, but agencies and government authorities feel that it will be over by evening with using of pressure, and government cannot sustain anymore.
All right, so the government using force on these protesters who submerged themselves in Harda, demanding that the level of the dam be brought down, and they've been protesting on the same lines as the villagers in Khandwa earlier. Remember, Shivraj Singh Chauhan government had given into their demands earlier, but this time around it appears that in Harda the government is not ready to budge, using force, cracking down on protesters there who've been submerged in water for the last 15 days.